Hi guys, how are you doing? Recently I'm in great mood. I have good news to share. If you don't know me, my name is May and I graduated from this uni. Goldsmiths nearly 2 years ago. Today I'm just back to see the fine art graduate show for undergraduate students. So nearly 2 years after graduation, finally I was reached out by one of my favorite galleries. Finally. They have seen some of my works and they are going to call me recently to talk about my recent works and to discuss what's going on next. I'm excited. It feels like a bit of light breaking through after this long stretch. Today I want to share what I went through after graduating, how I kept going in these 2 years, and something I only understood after the gallery reaching out to me. I moved to some quiet corner. I remember not long after graduation, some of my classmates, they were having solo exhibitions in London, in Switzerland, and one of them even had a great show in a national gallery, a national museum. So the pressure was, but I told myself, you used to do mainly installation work, now you are coming back to painting again. Nothing has taken shape yet and you don't even have a proper series. Don't overthink it. Back then, when I was still in uni, I already paid attention to how graduates make money after graduation and keep on creating. There was a girl, she's a friend of my friend. I went to her studio open day and I was talking with her, so I knew that after graduation she got a job working as a front desk of a gym. So every day at around 5 o'clock after work, she went directly to her studio to start painting until like midnight, and then she caught the last bus back home. Again in the morning, she went up at around 7 o'clock and go to work directly every single day. So that kind of life lasted for over 1 year, and two galleries reached out to her. They said they've been following her on Instagram for some time and they would like to collaborate with her. So she chose one, and they gave her a solo exhibition in London, and then they brought her work to art fair in Spain, but there her works didn't sell pretty well, so the gallery and the artist were under pressure. From Diana's story, I learned that signing with a gallery wasn't the most important thing, because after signing the gallery there could be still a lot of other pressures afterwards. So I figured I would just focus on making my work. After graduating, I didn't get a job. I have been supported by my parents for both living costs and my practice. There's a specific reason. I'm single, but I've always wanted a child, so I have to go to fertility treatment a lot. And on top of that, I'm not a very energetic person. Even 2 or 3 hours of work might cost me 4 or 5 hours to recover. So after graduating, I gave most of my time to make art. So in terms of time and money, I've been pretty lucky. There's no pressure there. For me, the real pressure lies in how did I keep going when I feel nobody's watching at me, when no one's inviting me to show. To be frank, I'm not always confident in myself. I have some confidence in my work, but there were times after submitting to open course and hearing nothing back, I have a lot of doubts about myself. In those moments, I kept telling myself, people do love my work, it's just not the particular things their gallery is looking for. Like once I showed my portfolio to the owner of a gallery I admired in London. She liked one of my pieces, asked about dimensions. Nothing came out in the end, but I considered this as a feedback. Another time I made the long list, not short list, for an open call from another gallery I love. I told myself that's still pretty good. It's just what I submitted didn't read as a cohesive series. The next time they run another open call, I will get it. And then there was a couple sale where I was selling some of my practices on paper, some small paintings. Someone followed me on Instagram, and I figured out that he is director of a major international gallery. I didn't know why he followed me. Maybe it's just nothing. But things like that kept me going. Finding little scraps of evidence and using them to cheer myself on. By my rough count, less than half of my classmates are still actively making artworks. As you know, it's only less than 2 years after graduation. Before I graduated, our department invited some alumni to come back to share their experience on how to build a career as an artist after graduation. One woman really stuck with me. She was also a painter, and by then she was already established. She had solo exhibitions in New York, London, Seoul, etc. She said that after graduation she kept painting and working other jobs to make a living. And it wasn't until 8 years in that she could finally make her living totally through her artworks. I still think about her sometimes when I need reassuring. There's no rush. This is a lifelong pursuit. A year or two is just a small step in this very long road. The gallery that reached out to me this time is based in Shanghai. I used to hear that all the time that the artist shouldn't be tied down by the market, shouldn't compromise for it. And I thought, well, obviously. But ever since I found out which series of my works the gallery owner she liked, even though I've stopped working on that series, I keep catching myself thinking about it. What elements did she respond to? Should I go back to it, or should I bring some of the elements to what I'm making now? Staying true to yourself is so easy to say and so hard to actually do it. I was glad that what she actually liked was my more recent, more mature work, not the ones I produced right after graduating. If her assistant told me that she liked my earliest stuff, I really don't know if I can hold myself not going back there. This is why the quiet, unnoticed period after graduating is worth protecting, really. So we can tell that artists face different struggles in different stages. Before your artistic style takes shape and after, before you've been seen and after, before you sign with somebody and after. For me right now, I think the most important thing is not losing my sense of direction over the long stretch ahead. Well, I think that's what I want to say today, and the weather is so nice. And let's hiding out to see some of the artworks. There's actually a lot I cut from this video. Why I'd still recommend a proper studio space over creating from your living room like I did. How to be selective about which shows to say yes to. Some of the differences between Chinese and British galleries, and how my own style has evolved step by step. If you want to hear any of that, let me know in the comments. See you in the next episode.